All right, welcome to the Clip channel. Trying to get some ad revenue out of this, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to do it by way of starting a race war between the Genesys players and the TCG players. So, this past weekend was the most important event of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Season. You know what the one I'm talking about is. It's the North American Genesys Championship, a parallel tournament held at the North American WCQ. A lot of stuff to talk about with respect to this event. First and foremost, of course, will be the fact that for the first time in NAYCS history, the Genesys event and the main event were held on different days. So if you wanted, you could play the Genesys event and the main event, kind of hedging your bets on getting in a day two, and then play whichever day two you qualified for, or pick if you qualified for both, which was cool. It was really excellent. Super happy that they're willing to do that. And as a result, we had record Genesys turnout. Shouts out to everyone who signed up as a result of watching our shit. A lot of people came up to me and Doug and Peeps over the course of the weekend and said, I got into Genesys because of the videos you all made in which you talk about it. A lot of people came up to me specifically and was like, that video you uploaded the day before the Genesys event, I was like, fuck it, I'll play Genesys too. I've got a pet deck and I entered the event. So happy to hear that that happened. We had over 500 people for the Genesys side event, which I think makes it the largest event ever held at a North American Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship series that was not the main event. Really cool stuff. Super happy that it happened. Like 750 people signed up on Neuron, and then I think woke up day of and were like, fuck, I'm not doing that. It was really cool. So that's why you get day two, just scrubs entering. Well, it's all people that made it to the WCQ, right? Like, I don't know. The event was really fun. I was super happy with it. It was very competitive. I will say I didn't play against any people that were like shitters. I was happy to have put up a good result, but I'm just going to walk you through it sort of day by day from my perspective, because I think people like when I do the storytelling thing and talk about the nonsense that I have to do in order to get to these events. So first and foremost, let's talk about getting to Minneapolis, Minnesota. So if you guys aren't familiar, Minneapolis, Minnesota is a nation in decline, as evidenced by the most recent Nick Shirley videos, friend of the channel, by the way, in which he alleges that communistic interests in Minneapolis have totally taken over the government, and as a result of requiring that the people that go there play yesterday's gameplay, but with today's cards. That is true, I am sorry to announce. But that's not the only thing failing in Minneapolis. Here's another thing that's failing. Their stupid budget airline. So I booked tickets on Sun Country Airlines. Have you guys ever heard of this airline? It is a budget airline that flies only to Minnesota. Now, I get to BWI, which is where I'm flying out of, about an hour and a half early, and they haven't populated the gate for Sun Country. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And maybe 10 minutes before boarding starts, they finally populate the gate, and it's in the D terminal. So all of us on this flight run over to the D terminal. And we get there, and there's immediately an insanely long line. Like a line that takes about an hour to get through. And so I'm doing the thing that you never want to do, where I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. Can I cut? My plane is about to board. I'll miss it. And everyone in line is like, we are also on the same flight. And I'm like, oh, we're just not getting there, huh? And they're like, yeah, I don't think so. So at the D gate, there's 5 scanners available for bags, but only 1 is firing. And so finally, after like 30 minutes, I get up to the front and I'm like, why is there only 1 firing? And they're like, because this is how many people we have. There were like 4 people that showed up to work this specific gate, servicing like 2,000 people. And I was just like, that can't be right. And it's getting really tense, and like fights are starting to break out. Not like full on fist fights, but like people yelling at TSA and TSA yelling back. And so at this point, it's clear I have like 30 more minutes in this line. And I'm like, I'm going to have to yell at Sun Country on Twitter for populating the gate late. I'm going to have to yell at BWI for not staffing anyone, like to try and get some money back. But there is no way I'm making this flight. So, I book a Southwest ticket in line, and I leave the line. I go to the C gate to get on Southwest, and there's no one there. It's completely free. It's well staffed. And I get up there and I'm like, hey, you know at D-Gate they're fucking suffering, right? And they're like, oh, really? We had no idea. But I get on that plane. I get out to Minneapolis, and I'm able to meet up with the team all right. I did fly Sun Country back. It was a fine airline. It was, it was totally fine. It was indistinguishable from a Southwest flight. It was like a third of the price, though. Anyway, so the team here was Down with Sis, the group of individuals we have testing Genesys, and I want to talk a little bit about my plans at the event. So I had come to the event with the understanding that I would be playing Genesys. I was like, I will play the main event if Genesys goes poorly and I feel like shit, but I haven't tested for the main event at all. So as a result, I was like, I will just play Cool Tune and just like hope, I'll just play Cool Tune, I'll hope. It's not that big of a deal. So I get there and but I had spent all my time prepping for Genesys. So here's where we ended up with in Genesys. Let me Dyer has sent me a tier list maker, and we'll do a little bit of this. Is a text only tier list maker. Walk me through some Genesys decks. Okay, I'll do all this. Yeah. Here, I'm just gonna throw these down here. We'll start them in D and then we'll move them up as necessary. So, the first thing that we figured out, and we talk about this a little bit in the Doug video, was that Melfi is crazy strong. 0 points means that you get to play like 20 hand traps. You have bespoke hand traps like Hoppier Squadron in your pool. So immediately we were like, this is the best deck by a lot. We need to be prepping around that, right? And we took a look at kind of the decks that were previously powerful, and we were like, okay, RDA is still really good. Fairy Tale is still really good. We expect to see a lot of that. After it became clear Satellar Knight is like really, really strong as a result of its ability to play turn skip, but also to make a board that just wins the game going first, we were like, and if it wins the die roll, it's probably unbeatable too. Then things changed. So Satellar Knight kind of dropped off, and I don't mean like it was bad, but it became the go-to deck for people who are trying to win the die roll and win the game. Like, it is definitely the deck that does that more than anything else in the format. This necessarily pushes Red Dragon Archfiend out of contention because it occupies the same space, but it's less competent into the played hand traps, puts up a board that is more beatable. As a result, we were like, okay, Satellar Knight becomes this centralizing force. I'm still coping about Fairy Tale. I'm like, I think Fairy Tale is extremely strong. It has game against Satellar Knight. It has the unique position to be playing Super Polymerization. But as we lab out this format, we find out Super Polymerization is not a very powerful card against these strategies. Because, like, yeah, it can eat a Satellar Knight board, but Satellar Knight's board is layered enough that it doesn't matter. It trades for 2 of their cards, but they're full of extenders. And, like, Melfi into Super Poly isn't fantastic. So we're like, let's put it down here, right? Then this showed up. So, Mr. E in our testing group started playing Blitzclick almost on a whim. And it just sort of immediately became clear that this was like a top 2, probably a top 1 deck. And totally changed how we looked at the format. So first and foremost, Blitzclick is single target removal and a board wipe. Those are like the 2 pain points of this archetype, which puts Melfi in the shit tier because it cannot possibly beat single target removal and board wipes, which we were already maining to beat it. So now Blitzclick is like a problem. The Blitzclick Satellar Knight matchup is pretty interesting in that depending on the open, Blitzclick can really easily beat Satellar Knight because Satellar Knight doesn't play well into double Charmy, which the deck can play. Honko did play in his winning list. And so we were like, shit, this probably is the deck, and it's even arguable you blind second. I was still of the opinion that Fairy Tale is kind of the midpoint between these archetypes. Like, it is a deck that has innate protection against the board wipe with respect to the Regulus spell, and can beat Satellar Knight pretty easily going first, all right? While playing a significant amount of non-engine. So we expect this is going to be the format. Blitzclick, Satellar Knight, Fairy Tale. We expect there's going to be some fucking combo slop, which is like an Elf Note synchro deck that people are playing with. We have no idea where Lab is going to end up, but we know it's going to be way overrepresented because people love bringing pet decks and it's unproven. And Sacred Beast is a deck that just was not on our radar. This was a huge oversight in testing. The number one oversight in testing was that I just didn't put a lot of value in a Sacred Beast, and I definitely should have. I should have seen it as a splashable deck. I was like, okay, it is a deck that exists, but it has clear weaknesses. Two reasons I didn't take it super seriously. Firstly, I envisioned it as a build-a-board combo slop deck that ends on like Thunder Dragon, Colossus, Varudris. And I was like, that's annoying, but not functionally different than like Satellar Knight. And secondly, I thought it would be like an all-in deck. Like, I didn't expect you could play Sacred Beast Blitzclick. And intuitively, that makes sense, right? Because there's like such a cost to playing the 3-ofs in the Sacred Beast deck. So, you know, like, just wasn't on our radar and ended up having a pretty good tournament. I do want to say I had played against Sacred Beast both on ladder, and we did a little bit of testing in person because someone in our circle was on it for a short period of time. I came away with it being like, it feels kind of die rolly against my deck, which is what ended up happening in the Sam game. But the Sam game we'll talk about when we get to the Sam game, because there is another funny element to it. I'm the only person who had it on her radar. I'm goated. Dyer, it was just an oversight. I mean, you said Melfi was the best deck. But so this is kind of where we ended up. I felt good about Fairy Tale. Would you put White Forest and Heroes in a combo slop? Absolutely. Like, I think they're prototypical combo slop. Anyway, so we get to the event, and the one thing that I think people were maybe a little too critical about was they were like, it fucking sucks that they announced you have to check in Thursday and then the event is Friday. Like, I understand that sucks, and it was announced way too late for people to make reasonable travel accommodations, right? But it was announced earlier. You kind of had to hunt for the information, but it was announced earlier. And secondly, I did not hear about anyone that was denied entry as a result from that. Like, I sent an email, they entered me. Like, I was not sure I would get there. I was like, in case I don't get there, here's my email. They both registered me and followed up. They were like, did you get in? The staff at this event did a bang up job. It was really good. So Thursday evening, basically, I was just prepping. We got to the hotel, and the hotel lobby, I was at the Hyatt, was totally choked. They had double lobbies, by the way. Both lobbies were totally choked with people testing Genesys, and it was so awesome, man. It was so great to see the enthusiasm for this format. So many people talking about like how bullshit Blitz is and like what do we board and all this stuff. It was so fucking awesome. So go to bed, wake up the next morning. Here's something I didn't know about Minneapolis. They have a Skywalk network. So the way that their Skywalks work is, in other states, you can usually go from a hotel to a building of importance connected to the hotel through a skywalk. But in Minneapolis, every single building has a skywalk entrance. So though it looks like walking through the fucking Kowloon-walled city because of how many twists and turns you have to take, you can get from point A to point B anywhere to anywhere, provided they are two different buildings. And it's not a weekend because some of them close on weekends. Which was awesome. We were able to get through the skywalk, all air conditioned, in order to get to the convention center that was like a 15-minute walk away. It was really cool. Then we get to the event proper. Now, the event proper was late. It was, there's really no excuse for it. It was about 2 hours late. First round was at 10:30. They started at about 12. It just took forever. Classic Konami, yeah. Uh, I was chatting up with Pac and Sam and Ryan, and all of them were like, "We've actually spent the last month labbing Genesys format," and I was like, "No, fuck you. I don't believe you." Um, Ryan showed up in Down with Sis to show off a list that I was not thrilled with, but I was like, that motherfucker's gonna win World, so who cares? Um, the funny thing that happened while we were waiting in line was that the European Genesis event was firing, and I mean, I know you all have seen the meme now, but like the literal very first action in the European Genesis championship was activate Knight to E4 from the Angelki deck, put a monster in the extra monster zone in the format without an extra monster zone. Like, come on, be honest. And like they had to have a judge come over and explain it, and the guy was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude, like that's like the whole central premise of this format." It was funny as fuck. But the opponent was also on it. Both players, great, dude. I'm starting to see why it didn't catch on in Europe. I legitimately think, I don't know. Okay, so first round comes around. I'm at literally the last table. I'm playing against the nightmare matchup, by the way, which is Lab, because I just don't know what a Lab deck looks like. The Lab deck that we put up on 100-point playtesting was a riff on a Lab deck that had done well before the points update. But the points update really freed up a lot of availability in Lab to play other stuff. So it could theoretically play a number of things. I'd played against Angelki in paper. I'd played against the Resonator version on ladder. You know, who knows what my opponent is playing. But we are at literally like table 247. And the guy to my right has a bye. And I'm like, shit. So we start playing. And as we're playing, they start setting people up to the right of us. They give my opponent who had this guy who had a bye, they give him an opponent. Then they put two more people down and two more people down and two more people down. Basically, they are like, if you were a late entrant, we're giving you a round one loss probably, but like, come on, let's try and play it out. And that's how they got the number of entrants above 512, which will matter later. Okay. So anyway, my opponent is playing Lab. I'm playing Fairy Tale. It goes to a grind in game 3, and I think I was winning, but you can never really tell in this matchup. And we're coming down to time, and my opponent's like, "I'll give it to you," and I was like, "That was really kind of you." But we did talk it out, and I think I did have it, because he had been through all traps. He'd been through all the trap names, and I just had equalized. And though I was out of like relevant Fusion and Xyz guys, it would be like Luna Match Giru Ball beatdown over the course of 2 turns, which probably takes us too long. Anyway, he was a really nice person. This is kind of the fundamental problem with Genesys, which is you just play 3 grindy games frequently. And, you know, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just isn't built for that. Like, you are kind of expected in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, and this is going to sound bad, to win a boarded game in 30 seconds. Like, you expect in a best of 3, one of the boarded games is going to take like 1 to 5 minutes because someone found all their going first cards or all their going second cards. And in Genesys, like, they've done a good enough job of boxing those out that you just expect you are going to have to play 3 actual games of Yu-Gi-Oh! And like, the time rules aren't set up for that. So I don't know. I bet Cupsy Yummy. Check it out. There were a lot of cosplayers there, and not to be like woman alert, but there were a lot of women there. I was excited, especially in Genesys. There were a significant amount of women who were playing the game as well. So round 2, I lost versus Blitzclick, and I felt like shit because I was like, now I have like a win that was functionally gifted to me and a loss. Like, so obviously I'm gonna shit the bed here, but I was like, I'll bounce back. It'll be fine. The Blitzclick loss was kind of frustrating because the theory kind of played out perfect. Let me here. I'll pull it up on YouTube. We'll turn this off to go to my own channel. But if you look at the list that I uploaded on my 100-point playtesting like 2 days ago, this is the list that I played card for card. and it includes 3 copies of Eye of Truth, which is for the Blitzclick matchup. And the concept is they can pop Eye of Truth with Breakaway, but you can Eye of Truth, then Teller to back up the Eye of Truth, and they can't beat that, right? So I open the hand, and it's like Unbreakable Xyz, Eye of Truth, and no names. It's like Crow, Ghost Ogre, and fucking like Crowley. And so just by virtue of having Eye of Truth and them not having Breakaway access, we do pass back and forth for 2 turns, and I eventually draw Match Giru, and I'm like, okay, Match Giru effect, and they have like negation for it, and I'm like, yeah. And then on their turn, they go like, they have sufficient material to out it. I think they eventually end up just drawing 2 breakaways, or that they deploy over the course of, or they only need 1 breakaway because I don't have Teller access. So it was really irritating because it was like, it did shut them down for like 2 complete turn cycles, but I just didn't have any names, so it felt kind of bad there. The reason I have Truth over Mutually Afferred Destruction is that I think Fairy Tail needs 2 turns. Like, if you Mutually Afferred and turn off their shit on their turn, and then they pass back to you, you do have to take actions frequently in order to get over set back row, in order to beat, like, Crackle Whisker. And that's, like, not guaranteed. Anyway, so we go to round 3, and I play against Blitzclick again. This time it does work out. I end up winning. I get to talk with Jerome a little bit in between. Jerome and Pheromone are just hanging out, so I get to talk with him. I thank him for making Genesys his baby. I forgot to ask him the question I wanted to ask him, which is, of course, who's the person who is saucing you with gladiator beasts in testing? I need to know. I have to know. I know that people ask Jerome so much shit about Genesys all the time. I just have to know that specifically. Tell me who was beating your ass with Gladiator Beast in testing. I need to know. Same concept as Eye of Truth against Vanquish Soul Canine. Yeah, not to get too in the weeds on Eye of Truth, but it also has coverage versus Sacred Beast and Vanquish Soul Canine, which are good decks. As you saw on stream, by the way. Anyway, round 4, I play against White Forest. This one's almost a blur to me. The first game is just like I have the correct amount of engine and non-engine to beat the setup. And the second game, I think my opponent just threw. Like I drew all engine, and it was conflicting engine too. It was like Emilia Bryanak, and I was like, I don't know, man, but it ended up working out. And the reason it ended up working out is because my opponent missed a trigger. It was like at the very end of their combo, and they're like, pass, and they go, oh, and I go, what? And they go, I'm supposed to summon Vengeance too. I'm like, I know how the combo works. You play your Vengeance, it's fine. And then later in the turn, he realizes he's got all 5 zones, so can't profitably Diabell Star. And I'm like, this is why the Yu-Gi-Oh gods exist. Like, you are supposed to give your opponent these sorts of takebacks so they can get into these positions. Anyway, Cupsy Yummy, by the way. This person was the judge for my stream match with Sam, by the way. She's great. She goes to my local and routinely will bring homemade crafts of the characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! I think if you saw the Poplar plush, that was hers as well. This is he's squishy. He's squishy Cupsy Yummy. He was like this big, and you squish him. Round 5, I played versus Clowns. That was a really interesting match. Clowns is a very different deck post new trap card, and I got to speak with a couple of people who did well in the Giant card about Clowns, and I think Clowns is a deck that's more well-positioned now that the Heralds are out of the format. It actually closed out the Giant card on the day when all the people from the Genesys pool were actually available, but it didn't do well in the event proper at all. So I don't know. My opponent was good at the game, but clearly like had come for advanced. Played well. It's just like unfortunately I know what the clown cards do. This is Dyer. I don't know if you saw Dyer. Every time I see this person, I get to do the bit. Go up to Zed. I go, "Can I do the Dyer bit?" He goes, "Yeah." I love this bit. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. Paul was there. So I got to talk pretty extensively with Paul about a bunch of shit. Played against Blitz once again. I do not remember this game at all. I think the reason I don't remember it is my opponent bricked twice. There was a blitz game I played. It must have been this one, and they just bricked twice. I was talking to Paul about like his weird out of nowhere run he's been on at regionals, where he's just been to like every regional for the past like 6 months and won like done really well in a number of them. And I'm like, oh, okay, holy shit, like let's go. And we chatted about Yu-Gi-Oh and life and shit, and it was nice, you know. Not to scroll up here. It comes up in day 2. But I met Alec was there too. I think we're the only 2 APS members there. What else? Next up is round 7 was feature, and I got to hang out with Kangas. We'll go to the feature real quick. No, it was I will say there is an upload of my match from the Genesys day 1 that is just not correct. It starts like halfway through. I don't know why it does. Like we played the entire thing. Here it is, yeah.
North and Latin America. And of course, in doing so, you get to compete for that absolutely beautiful map. Featuring Red Eyes Black Trap.
So it's me and Animature.
And his opponent today in the red chair
and
from...
So I didn't realize this. I did not know my opponent was Animature. Now, why is that funny? I stole 80% of this fucking deck from this guy. Like, so this is the individual who won the Farfa event that happened this past weekend. And when I was first getting on Fairy Tail, I went in my Discord and was like, does someone have a Fairy Tail like list I can start from and just start building? And Animature goes, yes, I do, sends me a list with the Necros cards in it, and I'm like, perfect. And I just play that for like 3 weeks and then make small changes, go to the Invoke build, come back to Necros. When Animature wins the Farfa event, I ping him and is like, hey, let me pick your brain on this stuff, and I make a bunch of changes based on his recommendations. So I didn't know. I was like, I'm sitting down, I'm like, wow, yeah, this name looks familiar, but I just can't place it. Oh my god. So we chatted the whole match, which was nice, but I do this thing, and fucking Joji Orlando calls me out on it, by the way, where I'm, like, reading Luna and shit after he plays it, and I'm like, this incredible play will obfuscate that I am also on Fairy Tail, you know? Like, I'm not super familiar with these cards, right? And, of course this guy knows the whole time that I'm playing this fucking deck, because he gave it to me! This is unbelievable. So this match is really interesting. I think I just get fucked game 1, and I fuck him game 2. And then game 3, I draw Perulia, and he executes the like Perulia line, which I think gives me a single draw. And it just comes down to like this misapplication of Ghost Ogre while I have the Regulus continuous spell on the field. And the third game really just was a super interesting, like, who has what read, and the judges just didn't talk about it. They were talking about nothing the whole time. It felt really bad. It was like, I went back and watched it, and they're just yapping about nothing while we're making these, like, consequential plays, right? I was fucked up about it. I was like, what the fuck? When did you learn it was him? Later that night. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Anyway, it's Joji Orlando and Pheromone. They finish, and then Kangas does the interview, and I had to give a shout out to my wife for finishing her dissertation. I do my best good boy impression for Mr. Konami, and then someone was walking around with a little duck on a keycap that quacks when you press it, and I'd done it a whole bunch of times for luck, and then somehow it got up on the stage, like Kangas had brought it.
The lucky duck earlier. Will you bop the lucky duck again? I don't know if the mic's picking that up. It is literally quacking right there. Thank you so much, Joseph. Congratulations on the win.
Oh, man. I was like, oh, I have to put it up to the mic. Duck ass, duck ass, duck ass, right? Anyway, that was really fun. And my opponent definitely deserved to advance over me. I think Animature ended up being 33rd overall, which was really unfortunate. You should have heard the Danny Farfar-Coda Genesys cast. I really don't want to. I don't think. And then the round 8, I feel so bad about this one. If my opponent ever sees this video, I am so fucking sorry for that duel. So here's what ends up happening in that duel. My opponent is on Hekahand Chimera, which I think is one of the better decks in the format that few people are playing. So, game 1, I go Perulia, and Hekahands can really elegantly play around Perulia and give you 1 draw. But he says, like, out loud something like, I guess I can give you 2 draws? I think he says something like that. And I'm like, okay. So he goes for the Gazelle, I draw off that, and then over the course of the turn makes Chimera and the standard Hekahand board, like the double counter traps and like Jawza, right? And so end of the turn he goes, okay, Chimera will rip one. I go, sure, 1 through 6. And he goes, 1 through 6. I'm like, yeah, right. You know, I drew 2 times off of Perulia. And he goes, you drew 1 time off Perulia. And I went, what the fuck? And he's right. I did. I drew 1 time off Perulia. I don't know how I got a 6-card mind. Like, I don't know how to impart to this guy. I'm like, I promise I'm not cheating. Like, but it like, what do, like, so I'm like, listen, I was like, I can put the card back. You know what? Let's call a judge. I don't want to be negotiating anything. So I call a judge. The judge is like, for this one, put the card back, and you're getting like a PE minor. And in my head, I was like, if I was the opponent here, I would appeal that. This should be a game loss for sure. Like, this should easily be a game loss. But he didn't, and the hand was weak, so I lost anyway. Then the second time, no, that's a PE minor. I understand that that's a PE minor. I just disagree. I think that should be a PE major. Anyway, the next game, I open kind of a weak hand, and my opponent opens the Stone Cold Nuts. It's like a full combo plus like Super Poly Change of Heart, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. It would have felt criminal if I had walked with that set after fucking drawing an extra card off Perulia like a stupid moron. Cheated and lost. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why you can't cheat. That's why you have to give opponents leeway, because there are Yu-Gi-Oh gods. And if you piss them off, you are fucked. Anyway, so I lose that round. That puts me at X2, which is a rough position because you probably have to go 4-0 the next day to clear. So this is where the number of people kind of gets problematic, right? The issue here becomes 512 people means 128 clear to day 2. Is everyone who gets 18 points, that's 6-2, or 128, whichever is higher. But under 512, it's 64. So 512 were added like in the middle of round 1. So they start making like stealth announcements that it's 128, not 64. And this does not get to everyone, by the way. Like, this was a kind of a huge oversight that this wasn't like formally announced. And what ends up happening is a lot of people who were in day 2 did not know they were in day 2 at the conclusion of day 1. But because there were 512 people and they've rigged it so it's 128 people in day 2, you are supposed to have an additional round. Like, there's supposed to be a 5th round the next day to get to 13 with those numbers. But there wasn't, because they said there would be 12 at the start of the day. So it ended up in a position where the breakers were totally fucked, because a lot of people dropped earlier than they should have. A lot of people were expecting an extra round when there wasn't one. And a lot of people just, like, there was a chance an X2 wasn't going to clear. That someone was going to go fucking 10-2 and not clear. Like, that would have been miserable. Thankfully, it didn't happen. So, after day 1, I'm like, all right, got to prep for advanced. I'm going to get up early. We're going to play a little cool tune. I have not practiced advanced at all. I'm running on vibes, but, you know, whatever. I'm already in day 2 of Genesis. Who really gives a shit? So I wake up the next morning and I'm like, there is no fucking way I'm going to advanced, right? I'm just not going to do it. And I go back to sleep. So I have I have a couple extra hours of sleep, and Half Miss, who I'm rooming with, is like, you need to go to the event space. And I'm like, why? And he's like, if you are playing advanced, you have to get the mat and sleeves, you have to check in that day. And I'm like, yeah, I'll check in that day. He's like, you have to check in before the fucking event happens. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do that. So I don't do that. And why did I not do that? Well, I don't know if you guys have seen. Because the thing you get for doing that is this beautiful mat. This mat, I think, is probably the worst mat of any mat that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has ever released. There's a lot going on here. First and foremost, sample. Second, I kind of want to get a bootleg that says sample on it. But second, this would not be a legal mat if you brought it. You are not allowed to have like the text of cards on your mat. This could cause so many complications in game states. And so people were asking judges, they were like, am I allowed to play on this mat? And there's an official judge response somewhere that basically boils down to, and this is alleged, of course, I'm paraphrasing from a tweet I saw, so who knows if it's real or not. But it said, it would not be legal, but Konami said it is legal, so it's legal. I picked this mat up for a song. I was like, I do want to have the mat. I know there was, I don't know, were the vendors allowed to buy the mats? None of the vendors had the mat up, but I know a couple of people who purchased the mat from people for $5. Like, I went up to a vendor and I was like, are you selling the mat? They're like, I guess so. And I'm like, what do you want for it? And they were like, $10. I'm buying them for $5. And I'm like, you got it. Fucking save me 3 hours of sleep. You got it. Oh my God. All right. So the next day, we do Giant Card. So this was a nightmare because, okay. So that night we went out to go have fun in Minneapolis. And I will say this about Minneapolis. The food, the nightlife, incredible, man. They are awesome. It is such a nice city. I do understand why insane people are pressed about it the way that it is. Like, we did run into a lot of people just fucking shooting up on the street. And I'm like, well, okay. If I was like a, this town's going to shit type person, I could see how my opinions would be validated. I get it. I understand. It did not have a homophobic bar. No, we did not find a homophobic bar. But it was lovely. That first night, we were just in so late. We had expected after the event to be able to go out and have fun, but because it took so long, we ended up getting out of there at like 10, and we went to a ramen place that was really, really good. The next day, we get up late and decide we're going to do regionals, right? By the time I get to the event space, the regionals have already fired. 2 of them have already fired. And so I enter the third one. And the third one is literally taking like hours to fire because the people who want to be in it are instead in the giant card. There's a Genesys giant card happening at 1. So I drop from that and go to the giant card. The second I do that, they call the regional. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go to the giant card. I had a pretty deep run in the giant card. I was happy to have played it out. I made it to top 8 before I lost to Blitzclick. But they put me on stream again. Let me see if I can find it. Additional content matches. That's what it's called. Oh no, this is something else. Additional WCQ live stream content. So there's no Genesys event today. So they're hosting like regional finals and attacks of the giant card shit, right? It's fun as fuck. So I played against Kevin M on stream, and this guy was a treat. What a nice guy. He teaches like hip hop and dance at BYU. and we were just having such a good time talking about it. Really positive guy. Everyone I knew who knew him was like, oh, I love that guy. He played fucking hero FTK. So a couple of funny things happened in this matchup. First off, note that I'm wearing the kill button merch, and they didn't ask me to take it off. That'll be important later. Secondly, I win game 1. In game 2, he gets the lock off, and I go Luna target Cosmo Neos on his turn to try and survive so that I can get to my turn, play the game, and win. And he goes, check this out. Shows me favorite contact, which has a sentence I swear to God was not on the card. It reads, neither player can return this card to the extra deck by card effects. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, since when has that? I play this card. How do I not know this? He was like, yeah, because it doesn't go back because of the like return to the extra deck effect of the Neos fusions. I'm like, I just assumed that Cosmo Neos didn't have that restriction. I've only ever seen Cosmo Neos or the Shining Neos come off this card, so I was surprised. Or, you know, a random other hero fusion, a DPE or Contrast Hero Chaos or something. I was happy about this one too because I was able to keep the Contrast Hero Chaos off the field with like a well-timed DD Crow, but he did get it. And then game 3, I end up winning just by virtue of having. This was kind of a cool one that I was shocked that the casters hadn't casted all day, but like a battle phase super poly of Wake Up Your Elemental Hero for Mixusa, and then at end step I blow up the entire board with Quintet. And we just were riffing the whole time. We were having a great time. It was a joy to play with. Then I lost in the next round versus Blitzclick in 5 minutes. So we're driving home and Peeps, or so after I get out, it's like 6 p.m. and we want to do the Mall of America, and we do. The Mall of America is just too big to do in a couple of hours. It's too big to do in like an entire day. You know, I don't really get the justification of it because it sure seems like if you're just going there to hang out, it would be really hard to do that. But we did get to go to the Museum of Illusions, which was like a bunch of fun photo ops that I'll probably post over the next couple of days. But on the drive there, Peeps saw the Ryan Yu tweet where he was like, well, I'm out in Genesys after going 1-7 against these dog shit ass unpointed FTKs. And he was like, I'm going to yell at him online. And I do want to say, first and foremost, we stand with Peeps, much better duelist than Ryan Yu. You know, I do appreciate that there is a format where people can play their pet deck and win an entire event in advanced. But like, you know, when the chips are down, the serious competitors go to Genesys, where like you have to prepare for the format, you know? Oh, man. It is embarrassing that Ryan Yu scrubbed out of Genesys, then topped the dog shit format with his pet deck. I mean, he just went to Super Weenie Hut Juniors. I don't know. It also is like, it is kind of frustrating for him to say that exact sentence when it's like, listen, there is a problem in Genesys, but it's not that there's too many FTKs. It's that going second is actually too good because of some fucking man named Whisker Blitzclick. You guys are so annoying. We were annoying. Yeah, that's true. So while this was going on, the advanced event was going on, and I cannot tell you how many people I spoke to playing Rolad. It was shocking to me how many people decided the pick for the event was Rolad. This is something that I have been noticing, just like, okay, I'm going to reveal something really sad about myself here, but one thing I like to do to keep abreast of the metagame is just watch DB games. Like, I will just watch the top of DB ladder sometimes and be like, oh, yes, very excellent. And in the last, like, 2 weeks of Dueling Book, everyone stopped playing good decks. I don't understand what I had tricked myself. I was like, has there been a meta shakeup I'm just unfamiliar with? But there have been so many stupid fucking pile decks and dumbass fucking pseudo FTKs. I'm like, what's going on here? And I do think part of it is going off grid, but I think a lot of it is everyone got bored. Yeah, JMT numbers, I literally, like, it's everyone got bored, right? It's like everyone was like, I am not playing another fucking Cool Toon Mirror. You know, I do need to know these stupid slop decks if I run into them at the event, so I might as well play, like, some fucking big Elf No combo deck, you know? And, everyone who came up to me, I was like, what are you playing? They're like, I'm playing Rolad. I'm playing Rolad Branded. And I'm like, I thought that deck was fine. I thought maybe one of them would sneak in a top, but I didn't think it was competitive versus KT. And like, well, man, I was playing S-Force. But it was interesting. I did appreciate everyone I got to talk to. There were so many good people that came up to me. We'll get to the, I guess, the talking at the end. So after day 2, me and Doug and Jordan and Half Miss and Mr. E all go to Putt Putt. And it was awesome. It was a ton of fun. They had like cocktails specific to each 9-hole course, and we all got, we all had a great time. I don't think any of us got like plastered though, because we did have to fucking wake up early and play Yu-Gi-Oh tomorrow. And we did notice that one of the Putt Putt places didn't have an updated driver. So this little thing kept coming up asking you to update the drivers, and you could use it to get to the MSN homepage. And so we did that and navigated from the MSN homepage to the fucking TMT. And I was like, let's get some fucking views on this thing, right? It was they came by and fixed it afterwards. I got several holes in one, not to brag. We get to the last set of 9 with like 20 minutes left, and so we all just speed run it, and they're like turning on the lights doing last call, and we're just like getting out. It was a lot of fun. So we all go to bed. We wake up the next day for day 2, and this is the day 2 thread. I get up at the start of day 2, and I see Sam, and I'm like, Sam, what's going on? How did your advanced tournament go? Because he was like, I prepped hard for Genesys, and I prepped very hard for advance. He was like, didn't you see my tweet? I'm like, what? I open up Twitter. Sam's like, my deck got stolen, but was returned to the lost and found, so I was able to find it. And I was like, I was so happy you were able to find it. What do you mean it got stolen? And he's like, well, I did get it back, but after advanced had fired, so I didn't get to play it. And I was like, oh, fuck. I'm so sorry to hear that, dude. So he was like, I have to try hard out in Genesys. We're playing round 1. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So Sacred Beast is a rough matchup for me. And Sam's a damn good duelist. He ends up winning the die roll, and it was 3 good games. We had 3 good games that, despite the fact that like it looks like I scooped from like a perspective of like, I just don't want both of us to get a loss, he did have it. He probably, honestly, he talked to me about it afterwards. He was like, I think, I could have executed a lethal combo in 30 seconds because he had like 30 seconds left. And I was like, I think you're right. I think you're definitely correct. The nib sucked. Oh, his non-engine draws in those games were crazy, but he played them really well. Here's the funny part of this one. So we're playing the duel, and we sit down, and Sam's doing his combo, and he's like, now I know you play nib, so I'm not gonna do this. And I'm like, what do you mean I play nib? He goes, okay, Joseph, time for me to come clean. When I found out I wasn't going to be able to play advanced, day 2 in advanced, and go for the advanced top, I went, it's time for me to start seeing what other people think of the format. So I watched your Genesys video describing all the decks, and then the videos you posted. And on Saturday, that included my card for card list of what I was playing. So I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, I know every card in your list. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I just didn't think you would. So, he played around Nibiru game 1. I didn't have it, but like he was walking me through his like his play style. So, okay. I talked about it earlier, but the way I conceptualized Sacred Beast was they dump a shitload of points in on Colossus because it can just randomly make it, and a shitload of points in on Varudris. But he wasn't doing any of that shit. He was ending on Raviel, triple little dude. What's his name? Like maker of the Sacred Beast or something. And it plays under Nibiru. That's 4 summons. As a result, he didn't have to allocate any points to like a fucking dog shit card like Colossus, and he was playing main deck Valor, which was super, super uncommon at this event. Valor is an 8-point card, competes for space with like Nibiru and like Fuelos, and people were like, I want to play Valor. Unfortunately, Valor is really, really good. Valor target Wickcat is functionally an FTK. But you know, it is what it is. His list was really good. He was on some crazy good theory, and he ended up winning. But it was a super fun match. We were yapping the whole time. There was one like really weird moment early on where I get Regulus. I open a Regulus Empire, and I want to go Empire, but not reveal I have a Regulus in hand. So I go Empire, grab Regulus, Regulus effect, or I go Empire, grab Regulus, normal Regulus, because the other starter in my hand is Genia. I don't have a normal in the hand. So I can like go late in the combo, grab Ball off a match Giru and normal a Luna, but I'm getting an extra normal off the tails anyway, and like that's already a choke point, so I'm like, I'm not gonna like plan for that. Instead, what I want to do is normal the Regulus, Genia the Regulus, to obfuscate that I have the second Regulus in hand. Because if I do that, he goes for like an Ogre on the Wick Hat, which is usually an all right play, but it doesn't accomplish anything here, right? That was the concept. And so I do this, and I'm setting up the play, and the judge goes, you're at 68. And I go, no, I'm not. I normaled Regulus. He goes, no, Regulus's effect specials it from the hand, and then you take damage. I'm like, I'm aware I didn't activate that effect of Regulus. And the judge is like, why? And I'm like, I don't want to tell you what's in my fucking hand, dude. What do you mean? I'm like, I just didn't use it. Like, and Sam was also, for what it's worth, he was really good about it. He's like, it's okay. Yeah, let's go. It was just like, what do you mean? Because I have a secret play. Oh no. I don't think he asked why. He was like, are you sure? Like, basically functionally asking, what are you, stupid? Why did you normal Regulus? Don't you know it has an effect, you know? Say I wanted to stay at 8k life. Oh, like Sam's gonna buy that. But it was funny. It ended up being fine. It was a good time all around. And yeah, you know, it's always bad hitting friends in bracket. But it is also a great opportunity to just have some fucking fun playing. You can watch that game. We have a fucking blast playing those games. They were so much fun. Okay, so from then on, I'm like, I probably have to win out, and even then, it's probably not going to happen. But I wanted top 32 because I wanted the prizing. So round 10, I played versus Melfi. That match was 5 minutes long. My opponent both bricked and was playing Melfi, which I wouldn't advise. Then round 11, my opponent goes for a Melfi card, and I go, is this fucking back-to-back Melfi? It was not back-to-back Melfi. It was Hekahand Chimera Melfi. And the concept was that you can use Baphomet to bridge into the Melfi cards. He was on like a significant amount of the Melfi cards. It wasn't just like Caddy like it would be in Sprite. But that was the concept. It was like you get Wally at the end of the turn and stuff. And it was cool. Didn't seem to shore up the weaknesses of Chimera. Probably the coolest deck I played. Check out this comment at the end of the match.
Dude, Joseph's shirt is inside out. His shirt is inside out? Bro, this fucking guy. Adult, by the way. Oh my god.
My favorite part about watching any stream that includes Farfa is that there's like an obvious reason why that is, and he's just too stupid to figure it out. He's like, wait, did Joseph forget how to dress himself? They told me to turn my shirt inside out because it said kill on it. It was WotC merch that had the kill button on it. And while yesterday they let it slide, I think because they were like, giant card, who cares? This one, they were like, we have a lot. They were candid. They were like, today we have a lot more eyes. We're being a lot stricter about this kind of thing. You're going to have to turn it inside out.
Oh, yeah, for that one.
What the hell, dude?
Yeah, she used it. I think there was
Holy.
or
Oh, my God. And then my 12th match was up against Branded. It was really fun. Had a great time. That matchup is just so fucking fun to play. We're both like super polying the shit. We both have such good super poly targets. It's so much fun. Like legitimately probably my favorite thing to play against in the format. But because it was the last round and like people were wrapping up, we ended up in the judge dome. This happens sometimes where like 5 judges just end up being around you because you're one of the last matches playing and they're just like chilling. And so we're playing out our last couple of turns, and my opponent gets into a position where like I have to they have to contest a super polymerization, but they don't have a good way to do it. So they go into Chaos Star Source Dragon, right? Now, we are already in time, but we got an extension because we were deck checked at the start. There's a judge sitting there, and they go, stop. And we go, oh my God. And they pick up Chaos Star Source, they read it, and they put it back down, and they go, you may continue. And we're like, okay. And so we play out the turn. I end up winning. And after we're done, we go to the judge, and I'm like, my opponent goes, what was with the Chaos Star Source? And she goes, oh, I just hadn't seen it in a while. And we were like, oh, okay. I mean, that's fair. To be clear, I was like, I mean, this is a card with some text on it I've never read. Usually that motherfucker is just getting banished for a Dark End evap, you know? Where do they get these judges? This is a story judge. Is like 100% okay to do. We were both completely fine with it. It was not like an imposition, and I think we both had a rapport with her. It was totally fine. The pop went crazy style in DT, I guess, man. Fucking Draco Tales, another story, I guess that's true. What he was using it for was to pop a Once Upon and a Super Poly to force me onto a Super Poly into like specifically a spellcaster because yeah. Although I can chain them in a way that plays around that, but I didn't. It was Chaos Star Source and fucking Cartesia. I got to make Mixu anyway with the whole field. It was, it is what it is. Anyway, I ended up 27th. I'm super happy with that performance. In a just world, that would be considered a top. But I got the mat. The mat looks so nice. It has the Genesys logo on it. Legitimately every single person every person I played was so happy, so thrilled to be there. Such incredible vibes. I was super annoying the entire tournament, and everyone was generally okay with it. And then they announced the top 8, and everyone was like, I can't believe it. Big names in here, Wilfredo, Jared, of course, Honko, of course. We're like, this is just unbelievable. And then they showed the graph, and we went, uh-oh. We went, oh no. I didn't know it was going to be like this. What happened to yesterday's gameplay? Well, to be fair, it wasn't yesterday's gameplay, yesterday's cards. It's weird, though. So, like I spoke about at the beginning, I thought Blitzclick would be good. I didn't think it would be 7 of 8 good. I thought it would be best deck, but not by this much. But it was best deck by this much. The only deck that snuck in was the functional FTK of Teller Knight, and that's the only Teller Knight in, like, the top 16. It was really strange. Isn't this also like all 7 blitz from top 32? No. There's like 13 blitz in the top 32. It is a lot. I don't know. The thing I will say, though, that many people might get mad at me for, this is a fine deck to be the best deck. Like, this is a deck that enables going second in a format that has had a problem with going first. It does not put up a fucking unbreakable board. The worst you're going to get out of this is a Ryo, and a lot of them aren't even playing Ryo. And it is something you can play around. We were all playing really weird techs to beat this. The Eye of Truth, of course, Mutually Afferred came up. A lot of people were on Pearly Happy Memory. Pearly Happy Memory was a big deal. If I have a complaint about this, it isn't even that, like, it's pointed weird. It's that the Charmies should be more expensive. It's like it should not be able to play both sets of Charmies. I don't know. I think that we will come away from this with a points increase on a couple of irritating, like, auto wins and floodgates, plus Whisker will go to 10 or something. Like, maybe like Whisker to 5, breakaway to 5 or something. But to be clear, like, again, like this is the play style of this deck is interesting. It is not a deck that sucks to play against. It is a lot of fucking fun. I enjoy playing against it. I had a like we had someone in our testing group in contention for top 8, ended up getting 12th. And he was irritated at the mirror, but every other person I talked to was like, I actually really like the mirror. I don't know. Do you think they should point out all new decks and slowly release them into the format? No, I think they just missed with this one. I think they missed with this one in Sacred Beast. I think Sacred Beast, I think, is the second most represented in top 32, but it's at like 3 copies. I think it should have been a little more, but I think Blitzclick was just a miss. I think they thought, the thing is, like, the points in this deck are on the field spell, which makes sense. That card's crazy. Are on Surge, which makes sense. That card's crazy. And then are on Crackle. And the problem with Crackle is that it's the worst card in the deck. Like, Crackle is so fucking terrible, but justifies a significant amount of the cards in the deck, so you do probably have to play it at max copies. It's just a weird card to have points, you know what I mean? And the reason it has points is because you can play it as a generic hand trap, like a shit-ass Ghost Ogre, if it doesn't have points and isn't comparable with it. Why does my opponent keep opening Crackle Whisker? Well, if you open Crackle Whisker, you're goated. Yeah, it feels like they didn't put points on it because they assumed you'd need the Nadir and Fallen and Virtuous to play. Yeah, I think what's going on is it's easy to fall into the trap of, and I have no evidence that this is the case, but the trap of looking at the upcoming builds for the top decks in the TCG and then being like, okay, X, Y, and Z card have points in the TCG, so we don't have to do much. But these decks obviously aren't competing against decks in the TCG. Blitzclick's best turn 1 play often is set alternator pass, and it's hard to communicate that that is functionally an FTK versus a significant amount of the format. You know? Do you think the virus can finally get pointed? What, Full Force? I think there's a number of viruses that need to get pointed. All of them. Ugh. Anyway, huge shouts out. Congratulations to Honko. He has been grinding. And huge shouts out to Jared, too. What a crazy finals. Like, to not only players who have, like, tops to their name, but also players who have been at the forefront of doing well at Genesys events. You know what I mean? Like, it's good that we have our own, like, pros, so to speak. Not that they aren't pros in every sense, but, like, it's cool that there are people who are uniquely good at Genesys. And the final was really good. Honko was on Waking the Dragon. Fucking hilarious. He was not the only one on that, by the way. So after that, I went back to the hotel and slept for a while, and then I went to this pinball bar, which was a lot of fun. I didn't really have much to drink because I'd had a lot to drink previous days, and I was like, I'm just going to take it easy. I got a flight tomorrow morning. But it was me and Jordan and Doug in a room, and the problem is you can't let that happen. So we just started making the same joke over and over again, which was yesterday's format, today's cards. So this is what we were just all night. We were just fucking tweeting about yesterday's format, today's cards, yesterday's cards, today's cards, format cards. It was super irritating. It was crazy, unbelievably irritating. Ugh. And we were like pissing ourselves laughing. We're like, this is the funniest shit ever. And that pinball place was really nice too. They had like a bunch of pinball cabs from like the 50s, like really, really early stuff. And it was nice to play like pinball that didn't warp your brain. But just like put in a quarter and it's like there's like one hazard on the board and you're like, oh. And then they also had a Dune one. A Dune pinball machine that we fucking spent probably $1,000 on. I was playing my like pinball machine for old grannies. And then Doug comes over and he goes, dude, the Dune pinball machine is a cinematic experience. And it turns blue when you're like the thing at the end where you have to like match the number is usually just the Emperor's Seal or something annoying, but every so often it's the Gom Jabbar, and the way they do it is you press the start button, and then you have to hold the start button the whole time, which is in the center, and then use your other hand to do the 2 flippers and score X amount of points without like hitting both flippers. And they're like, if you take your hand off, you die. If you press both flippers at the same time, you die. And so the second time I got it, I put my knee on the start button and then played normally, and this cab froze up, and it was like, do you have 3 hands? And I was like, I didn't know you were watching. I apologize. You got the fuck out of me. There was one event where you shoot it into like the worm, and it magnetizes it down, and the whole fucking cab rumbles while the worm comes up. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, this morning I woke up at like 4 in the goddamn morning. I had Sun Country again, a similar long line because they once again revealed the gate 30 seconds before the thing started boarding. But the Minneapolis airport had more than 3 people working there. So I did get there in time. And then I came home. Now I'm here. Anyway, what I would say kind of about Genesys in general is that we are so back. I felt so good about the format. I didn't watch the Farfa Distant Coder stream. I will watch it back at some point or get the highlights. I hope that it wasn't just complaining the whole time, because I played almost exclusively interesting back and forth matches. I was so thrilled with the quality of gameplay, with the quality of opponent. It was so clear that so many people had invested so much time into the format to get good and like had ended up reaping the rewards. I was so thrilled that we were able to, that this has happened. Over the span of a year, it has gone from like this thing that's just dead on arrival to the largest main event at a YC or at a WCQ ever. Like I just could not be more happy. And I think there are some rough edges. Like obviously, I think the Blitzkrieg needs a few more points. You know, I think the Charmies are a little too easy to access. But like, that's nothing, man. Like, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! My whole life, in every format, it's like, here's a stupid floodgate that's legal in the format. Here's a stupid, miserable-ass interaction that's in the format, and there's just not that many of them. The games are just better, you know? I don't know. Oy, oy, oy. Real quick, I want to go to YGO Pro Deck to show off this. The good news is, if you were mad about 7 of the same deck in Top Cut, well, I've got great news about the top 8 here. Oh, man. So, yeah, a quick note about the advanced format. Oh, my God. This kid is just him. It's unbelievable. Watching the Ryan Yu match. A rematch, by the way, of, like, Dragon Duel finals from 1,000 years ago. And Charlie's so fucking funny. In the first game, he drew Delta as 6th card. I think he's on Delta, right? And he shows it to Ryan, and he goes, now, Ryan, what do you want me to do with that? What do you want me to do with this as my 6th card? What do I do, Ryan? Tell me. It was so funny. I was, like, pee-peeing my pants. I was like, hee, that's so funny. I will say, though, not to be a real bitch about the difference in gameplay, it sure felt like games 2 and 3 were decided by Solemn Judgment. Like, Charlie flips Solemn Judgment game 2, Ryan flips Accusation Judgment in game 3. It's like, okay, well, you know... There was other stuff that happened in the game too, but these cards got to go. I can't believe they printed Accusation. They were like, ooh. By the way, Pot of Sloth, greatest Sky Striker card ever printed. That's crazy. Now, you want to talk about yesterday's gameplay? Flip Solemn win? Whoo! Oh man. How many votes is Renren at? Renren is winning. Don't worry. The points playoff was really interesting, too. Jesus Christ, look at that top 8 cut. It's crazy that the 3rd best deck might actually just be Sky Striker. For the 12th year in a row. Reban Engage. Hashtag Put engage back. Look at this deck, man. Nah, it was Ryan. Look at the results. Top 16, 2 Sky Strikers. That puts it in contention with Light and Darkness Ritual. Top 32, another Sky Striker. There's 3 whole Sky Strikers here. In terms of decks that aren't named Cool Tune, I mean.
Sky Striker. 7 cool tunes and 1 Sky Striker in the top 8. I want to hear your thoughts on how your deck performed this weekend.
Can I say whatever I want?
He says a slur here.
Whatever you want. Yeah, this is your moment.
It's not the deck, it's me.
Damn. He's going to come for Genesys next year. Right now, not a good enough player, but maybe next year he's really going to take Genesys by storm. Oh, man. Really beast mode. I will say, I saw a fan cam of it. Someone's got to do it with the All I Ever Wanted Was a Black Grand National. Fuck being rational. That's just like a better song for the fan cam. Doom, doom, doom. Why do people on Twitter fucking hate Sky Striker so much? Misogyny, I'm going to say. I don't know. It's been 7 years, probably. Look how fucking clean this list is, too. Fuck me. I do want to show you all one more thing, which is this match. So, this is Henry G versus Matthew S. These two are in the same testing server. This is the final for the Genesys Attack of the Giant card. They're playing Clown Crew, with the understanding that Clown Crew is crazy if you build it specifically into Blitzclick. Has like a really good Blitzclick matchup if you build it to do so. So part of that is, of course, playing Mutually Afferred Destruction. The Mirror, one of the worst things that you could ever see.
They have the same card they can't activate.
Honestly,
So
I mean, yeah.
Matthew gets Mutually Afferred. They compare hands, and this is a compare hands match. So
They have the same
Henry
card they
fires the
can't
Mutually
Honestly,
Afferred,
just-
sees
I mean,
Matthew's hand contains more than Henry can beat. Henry immediately scoops.
Finals, but let's
He wins. They're mutually
And that's the end of the match.
activate the same.
Yeah, so it's like, what I'll do is like, I'll
We're not
hold.
all right. So I usually
And by the way, where I started it, that's the start of the video. So it cuts to them. They're like, okay, we're now going to them. They've played one game already,
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
let's play it
so
as
there it
finals.
is.
But let's
and that's the match. Also, Matthew, like, let's play it out. It's finals. Dude, by the way, YouTube chat was talking about it. This Henry guy was basically Hitler. What the fuck did he do? He was on mainstream as well and was insufferable. There's no other word for it. He was absolutely insufferable. It was. I understand, you know, maybe he's not like that interpersonally. If that was my only impression of him, I'd be like, nah, that's not good. He got in an argument with a judge about like a policy document thing that was just like, he was just totally in the wrong about. It was a little embarrassing. He apologized for it on Facebook. That's good. But like, again, if that was my only interaction with the guy, I would be like, you know, I wouldn't hold it against people. Dude is on Facebook. Red flag. That's true. You can't be using Facebook. Please watch the EU finals. Fine. How long is EU finals? Genesys EU finals or the fake format EU finals? Tim G versus Florian D. This is fucking an hour long. I'm not going to watch this. Just watch the Q reveals. Has someone timestamped them?
That he is still going to have a field after the next turn. Whoa! He picks the Theseus away from
Owned. Nice super poly, dumbass.
Wow, that is a
Here comes the
hand.
cue.
However, this hand does
Oh, so,
not play
okay,
a
wait.
lot.
The hand is super poly and he gets the
You
Theseus?
have Double Fallen and the Virtuous. One of them is a super polymerization discard, possibly. There is the Mitsurugi Ritual, and there is Murakumo. If you can stop the Ritual somehow, that hand doesn't play anymore.
That's true.
If you can't, the hand is good.
Yeah, for sure. And we will also, of course, have the chance to check out that top deck momentarily to make sure that it's only going to be about that Mitsurugi Ritual. Oh. Okay.
Haba Haba
Both of these cards
Kirky.
technically would be able to play.
I think you banish the Habakiri.
I just
and
popped
say,
the perky.
Give
Oh,
him the
and there's
Habak-
game one. Habakirky again. That's crazy. So wait, the banishes here were Habakiri, the super poly target when I draw super poly. Dude, I'm glad we have a skilled format. Wait a minute. I'm glad that we have a skilled format, unlike Genesys, where the game's determined by all this stupid bullshit. Oh my god. Oh man. I recorded like a deck profile for the deck that I played, but I don't think like... Oh, let me just send it to Jared. Hold up. All these guys are killers, by the way. They're fucking crazy. This person specifically, Armin Smith, we played a couple of games with him too. He is such a nice guy.